Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of 5 Minutes of Mike. I'm your host, Michael Beckford. And in today's topic, we are going to talk about the rollback of voting rights for primarily black and minority districts. This was all done by the United States Supreme Court, which I highly disagree with. We'll get into that in a minute. This is 5 Minutes with Mike. Our news, our voice, our issues. Believe that.
To the protests over the nationwide race to redraw congressional maps across the country for partisan advantage ahead of the midterm elections. Jay O'Brien is in Washington with the latest. And Jay, Tennessee, now the latest state to approve a redistricting plan.
That's right, Rachel. Good morning to you. Tennessee Republicans passing new congressional maps yesterday, likely to eliminate the state's only majority black district, which is the only House seat held by a Democrat there. The move sparking heated protests inside the Tennessee state capitol as the votes were taking place. Tennessee is now the first state to redraw its congressional maps after a Supreme Court decision last week weakened the Voting Rights Act, protections against racial discrimination in gerrymandering. The Tennessee chapter of the NAACP has already filed a lawsuit to block these maps from going into effect. Other Republican states, though, like Louisiana, Alabama, and South Carolina, are now also moving to redraw their maps. It's all just the latest in a months-long wave of redistricting that swept through Republican and Democratic-controlled states ahead of the November midterms. Michael.
All right, Jay, thank you so much for that.
All right, guys, this is a very, very important topic to talk about, especially for those of us that identify as being in the black community, because all rights that we have as a community, as a people, we have essentially been getting rolled back for the last, honestly, 3-4 years, maybe further than that. But with the re-election of Donald Trump roughly a year and a half or so ago, we all saw the umbrella of Project 2025 really starting to take effect. And so what I mean by rights for blacks being taken away for the past 4 or 5 years. So we saw this with the burning of books. Like literally the state of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis decided that he no longer wanted to have books inside of schools that were quote unquote based on things and themes that may make white people feel bad, or I should say, you know what I'm saying, little white Timmy feeling bad about the atrocities that was done to one group of people by unfortunately a prior generation of his, or a prior couple generations or so. And while at the same time, little black Jamal that's in school, he doesn't get the opportunity to see exactly what his ancestors went through for the sake of little Timmy. There's some proverbs in mind that, you know, the Bible says that there's nothing new under the sun. And when you think about that, also, there's another proverb in mind that says, history oftentimes repeats itself. So if you don't want people to think about a history, if you don't want people to imagine a history of a world where individuals were literally shackled, legs, arms, everything, on ships, a good percentage of those individuals were unalived because of unforeseen sicknesses, diseases, whatever, treated less than animals. If you don't want that type of history to be displayed because of what, you know what I'm saying, Caucasians have done and cooked up within their minds to destroy a group of people, to enslave a group of people just for cheap labor, then yes, you'll censor my video and you'll take books out of school that taught key history. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm starting to learn now as a grown-ass adult that things that were done that weren't taught in school to black, it was just atrocious. It was like unimaginably disgusting. Like, how can a society, how can a personhood even dream up of some of the things they did? For one, feeding kids, little babies, our babies, to alligators? Are you sick? All out of credit once approved for a room near you. Locations and restrictions apply. Hit the link below and get approved for your next room. Now, do you have a vacant home that's been listed on the market forever? Make money from your home today using Padsplit. Earn passive income and make it a Padsplit home today. Link in the description below. That was in Florida, right? Good Florida. Don't want us kids here. And also taking the hair off our backs and using it for furniture, essentially. For furniture products. Between pillows and sofa couches. Like, literally, this stuff happened. It's real. Look it up. So, we move forward from the oppression and some of the things that Lincoln did, which he sort of did it begrudgingly in regards to, quote unquote, the freeing of the slaves, because we still got the 13th Amendment, which basically means that you do any crime, Negro, you going into the slammer. So all of a sudden, blacks became criminals. We went from blacks on the camps and the work camps and in the fields and picking cotton and tobacco and whatever they had us to do, and you know what I'm saying, serving the master's wife and black women, you know what I'm saying, feeding master's kids, both literally from the sense of her breast to the you know what I'm saying, cooking and whatever, everything that required the plantation to run, the enslaved people did. So you go from that, then you go to, yeah, you're free now, but now, okay, well, what the hell do we do now? So then, you know, they just enacted these wild Southern laws, Jim Crow law as we know it, and basically, you know what I'm saying, either you became a sharecropper, which basically is another, in some cases, another form of slavery, or you go to jail because of, you know what I'm saying, what that little gray area in the 13th Amendment, right? So now, fast forward, like, blacks are like just fed up, you know what I'm saying? Yes, we had some of different towns, Tuskegee, you know what I'm saying, Black Wall Street, Rosewood, you know what I'm saying, all different types of towns that blacks were thriving, you know what I'm saying, that we were able to thrive as a people. We were able to do our things, you know what I'm saying. We were separate, but not equal, but that's cool, you know what I'm saying. Our black businesses were, you know what I'm saying, doing, you know, we're supporting each other, doing our thing, living our lives. But no, you know what I'm saying, no, a certain group of people, you know what I'm saying, of a certain skin type, said, nah, man, no, we can't let them just live their lives, man. We got to F with them at every corner. You know what I'm saying? We got to F with them at every corner. And so, you know, they burnt down many of our places that of wealth, you know, period. And so then it went from them burning down our places of wealth until, you know what I'm saying, we got the civil rights movement and integration, things of that nature. And now, you know, they started to see, man, that black dollar is a powerful dollar. So, you know, now they created every institution, so we can't build our own. So we have to rely on their institutions for consumerism in their particular businesses to, you know what I'm saying, to help support their businesses, which is why by the time a black man, or statistically black man, black woman get $1 and get paid, within an hour or two, 80% of the money is already gone out of the community. Why? Got to pay rent. Got to go pay to this person, that person. All these establishments, all these places that you pay, your cell phone bill, whoever, are not owned by us. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. So what does all this stuff have to do with voting rights? Okay? What does all this have to do with the U.S. Supreme Court gutting voting rights, particular article in the voting rights? Well, it has to do with the fact that Black Americans, or what some would call foundational Black Americans, have come a long freaking way in America, from redlining to getting beat the F up on the Pettus Bridge, all kind of stuff, dogs being stuck, sicked on us, firefighters spraying, water fountains on us, all these particular things to fight for our rights to have equal representation, to fight for rights just to say, hey, we are paying taxes, but it's taxation without representation. And so now we have a very biased, Republican-leaning Supreme Court that said, hey, we don't give a F about all the things that you guys went through, essentially. We have an agenda, and it's very simple. And like I said, this is under the guise of the 2025 manual. That agenda is simply this. We want blacks to be in their place. And that place is, we tell them what to do, and they have no power. They have no power. They have less opportunity, and they don't have anybody representing their interest. Period. Because the only interest that we want represented is ours. That's essentially what they said by gutting this particular thing. And so now we have states like Louisiana, which was a part of that, which was attached to this particular Supreme Court ruling, already gerrymandering to the extreme. In Tennessee, one black district that Tennessee had, which is in Memphis, gutted, gerrymandered. No representation from anyone that's now going to be black. All of these things here, it matters. It matters because representation, proper representation, determines funding that you need for your community, funding that you need from the federal and state government for your schools, and other things, And it's funny to me that these individuals all like to say, well, nothing should be based on race. Nothing should be based on race. Well, then why the F did you guys enslave black people? Why did you take people from Africa and enslave them? How come you didn't enslave the Dutch? How come you didn't enslave, the people from Switzerland and other places, European nations, or Australia? How come you didn't enslave these people? Why did you go specifically to this place where individuals look like me and enslave them if we say that things not based on race? And to further this dumb argument, when it comes down to the individuals that try to say, oh, it's race, everything is equal. Well, why did you guys have such a thing called redlining? Which is basically saying that if you are black, you can't be in this particular community, or we're going to make it real hard for you. You're not going to get a loan. You're not get it. You're going to make it real hard for you to get in. And if you do get in, we're going to picket your house to make you want to leave. You know what I'm saying? So everything in America has been based on the race, but now the very Civil Rights Act and things that were meant to help at least give us some sort of levers of equality has been getting gutted and gutted and gutted the past few years. And they've all been doing this under the guise of the courts. So here we are, 2026, ladies and gentlemen. We're censored like a mofo. We don't have any particular true black leaders that we can speak of. And now 2026 is starting to look more like 1966. All right, guys. We got to do something, man. I don't know what it is, but this has to be stopped. This has to be repealed. You take away a man's voting power, you now take away the power of that community. I'm honestly pissed off. I'm not happy about it at all. And I think more people need to rise up and scream to the mountaintop that this is not right. This is not right. All right, guys. Hit that like button. Please sign up in the comment and subscribe. Have a blessed day.